Now, if you'll excuse me. 14 hands, where great times are made.
Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you apple, a plum, and an apricot or two. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything.
Complete your Thanksgiving table at Target. Get a $10 gift card when you spend $50 on groceries. See store for coupon.
Come on to my house.
This is Black Friday.
Oh my God.
Does anybody want to be part of this?
No.
Well, Chevy has a better way with Black Friday deals all month long.
That's a great idea.
What if you could get up to 20% cash back when you bought it? Bam!
20% back? Awesome.
It's Black Friday. Find your tag and get cash back for 20% of the MSRP on select 2015 vehicles in stock. That's over $4,100 on this Chevy Cruze.
Cool. Time to go shopping.
The first thing I always make for the holidays is a trip to Ross. I find just what I need to prep, cook, and serve a meal in style. And I save so much on everything.
For entertaining, there's no place like Ross.
Closed captioning is brought to you by your Arizona Ford dealers. Visit your local FordDealers.com.
On tonight's Fox Flashpoint, ISIS issues another threat to attack the U.S. ISIS issuing its warning from its de facto capital, which is right here in Raqqa, Syria. It warned in a new video that countries taking part in airstrikes against it in Syria would suffer the same fate as France. And it threatened to attack the U.S., saying it would strike America at its center in Washington, D.C. Flashpoint, Syria, where France and U.S. aircraft strike ISIS targets again today. Since Friday's attack in Paris, French aircraft have been targeting ISIS basically right here in northern Syria. And for the first time, U.S. strike craft like these A-10 Thunderbolts attacked hundreds of ISIS trucks just over the border from Turkey. ISIS has been using the trucks to smuggle crude oil, a major source of income. According to the New York Times, more than 116 ISIS trucks were destroyed by 4 A-10s and 2 AC-130 gunships. And that is tonight's Fox Flashpoint.
Even before the terrorist attacks in Paris, the Pentagon deployed A-10 fighters to Turkey to assist with U.S.-led bombings on the Islamic State. The A-10 is a familiar jet to many of us who live in Arizona. The jet has a major hub at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson. While the A-10 helps to fight ISIS, it is also fighting a political battle to stay in the sky. Spitting 30mm rounds from its nose-mounted cannon, this is how the A-10 Thunderbolt II responds to a mandatory retirement. The U.S. Air Force A-10 was first declared combat ready back in 1978. Jimmy Carter was president, and Annie Hall won the Oscar for Best Picture. And if the Cold War ever turned hot, the A-10 was designed to slow a Soviet advance into Western Europe. 38 years later, A-10s are still flying. They're being sent to Europe to bolster NATO while Russia bullies Ukraine. And a squadron of A-10s just joined the war on ISIS in Iraq and Syria. It's said in Iraq that when the A-10 appears, it sends Islamic State soldiers scurrying to save their lives. But can this ungainly, legendary aircraft that its pilots call the Hog save itself? The Pentagon has been trying to get rid of the A-10 since the first Gulf War, back in 1991.
We're seeing bright flashes going off all over the sky.
Back then, 2 A-10s destroyed 23 Iraqi tanks in a single day. No one wanted to cut the A-10 program after that.
They want to spend more money on the F-35.
The A-10 has powerful friends like Arizona Senator John McCain, who pushed through A-10 funding for at least one more year.
And I guarantee you, as long as I'm chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, the A-10, until they find an adequate replacement, will remain in operation.
The Arizona Republicans stopped by recently for a taping of Fox 10 Newsmaker Sunday. When asked about the A-10, McCain says it's all about capability. He's been critical of the new F-35, the Air Force's supersonic stealth fighter, because he and others say the F-35 can't handle close air support as well as the A-10. When the U.S. or allied forces on the ground get into trouble, they want help from the air. That's called close air support, something McCain says the A-10 can still provide.
The A-10 is about $15 million. The F-35 is about $150 million. Talk to the pilots. Those are the ones who will tell you.
Taking the senator's advice, we took a trip down to Tucson to talk with a pilot of the A-10. Tucson is a great place to fly the A-10. The weather is usually perfect. And the nearby Barry Goldwater Range gives them wide open spaces to practice. In their defense, these are pilots, not politicians. They don't want to get caught up in discussions about budget cuts or defense bills. But ask them about flying in a jet that's years older than they are, and you get a feeling for why they love their job. Kyle Schaefer of the 354th Fighter Squadron, in his own words, about the A-10.
Well, it's affectionately known as the Hog for all Warthog pilots. It's very easy to fly. It's very forgiving. When you look at it, it's very rugged. It's pretty much just like a big flying tank. And being located in Arizona here in Tucson with the Barry Goldwater range that we have here to utilize, it's some of the best training you're going to see. A GAU-8. We've got 30mm bullets. They're about yay long, and we have all different types of bullets depending on what we're doing. If you look at the aircraft from kind of straight on, you can see that the nose wheel is a little bit off center. So this is really just based on the entire airplane really revolves around the 30mm cannon there. It's got multiple hydraulic systems. It's not a fly-by-wire, so it's still got the cables and pulleys to protect us. Super forgiving, super easy to fly, and just really a lot of fun.
Just last week, an Air Force general said that it may not be the right time to retire the A-10, the Warthog, after all. He said the Hog may keep flying through at least 2019.
Well, temperatures have cooled off quite a bit. We've had some snow and rain around the state and the valley. We'll take a look at weather coming up.
Well, with the game on the line and the biggest challenge on the road to date, the call that sealed the win for the Cardinals. I asked Bruce Arians about this call. It also inspired a new dance. We'll get into that. We're going to talk Cards, Seahawks, plus a lot of football tonight, including the Bengals, the next opponent for the Cards. How did they fare on Monday Night Football? Ahead in sports.
Fox 10 AccuWeather forecast with Dave, Corey, and Christy.